I tried everything. It felt like I was really snappy. I get massively triggered by whining, noise, crying, sleep deprivation. Did not make me a patient person. The last thing I want is for my children to grow up feeling like they've got an angry mom.
Hi, and welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. Today, I have for you a chat with a mom who was so amazing. She was so patient, so professional before she had kids. Then, first kid came, sleep deprivation. Second kid, COVID. She started yelling. And even CBT therapy, talk therapy, did not help. So, only when she realized, yeah, surprise, what was the problem? How come none of that helped her? There were some generational patterns that had to be cleaned up. So, what were those generational patterns? What is it that she did? And where is she now? 3 months later, 3 months, and she's not yelling anymore, and her kids are doing much better, and her kids are actually much healthier in terms of their emotional management. How is that even possible? Well, come and meet Suzanne with me. Hi, Suzanne. Thank you so much for your courage. Welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast.
Thank you.
It's really great to have you because you're the mom who tried it all, who did it all, and who had all the reasons to say, shut up, get out of here, nothing is going to help me. And yet you didn't. So, how about we start at the beginning? I would love to hear, to whatever detail you're available to share, but I would love to hear, what's the situation? How are you feeling? How are you doing? What's the family situation like when we met at the beginning?
Yeah, okay. So I have two girls. They are 5 and 7. When I first started the program, I had tried everything. So I always thought that I was quite a patient person. I work in healthcare. So before I had children, I was like, yes, I'm patient. I can do this. This will be fine. And then I had my daughter, and I realized that actually sleep deprivation did not make me a patient person.
For sure.
And following on from that, really, I just really struggled as a new mum. Not long after I had my second daughter, COVID hit. And it was a challenge. We moved house, and it just felt a very stressful time. And that really affected my mental health, and just how I felt in myself as a parent. And I realized that actually I wasn't very patient. I felt like I was really snappy and I just wanted to change. So I tried CBT, and that gave me some tools to help, but it didn't resolve the problem. So I kind of felt like I'd, done the talking therapy, I'd done the CBT. I just wanted to change because every day just felt stressful. I felt like I was snapping at the kids. I felt like I wasn't the mum that I wanted to be. Um, and then I listened to one of Alena's podcasts, and it talked about generational trauma, and it really hit home. And I thought, that's me. So, yeah, I now feel like I'm in a much better place having now done the program.
And we will unpack all of that, but let me pause right here to celebrate you because indeed, having the courage, what was it actually that made you want to even try and be open to hearing about different thing? Because as you said, you were super patient and so professional, you had all that professional background as well to be an amazing mom, which you are. But then all these things that happened and the stress and sleep deprivation and moving houses and COVID and everything piling up on top of each other, and then doing the CBT and talk therapy, and that didn't help. So I think there will be lots of moms who will resonate with that story because we don't go into motherhood thinking we are going to yell at our kids until their ears fall off like that. Nobody wants that, right? We are the ones who suffer the most from it, kind of feeling guilty and ashamed. So I think I really appreciate you sharing it so openly here because I know there will be so many moms who need to hear that they are not alone. But I'm curious in this part of really what was the reason why you decided okay, let me give this another chance because you tried already so many things. So you had really all the excuses to say screw it, I'm hopeless and this is just what it is. I'll need to keep screaming because nothing else works for me and my kids.
Yeah. I think it was your honesty actually of your story. So you shared in previous podcasts about the story that you've been through. And I really resonated with your story because I thought, oh, I'm not on my own. Someone else actually gets this. But the fact that you'd gone through it and kind of seemed calm and patient now. Um, and it just really gave me hope that actually something could work. I kind of always felt in the back of my mind that there must be something that would work. Um, yes, I just felt like it was worth giving it another go just to see if something could change.
Get it. And thank you so much. This actually confirms the point, like why I love doing these podcast episodes, like talking to brave moms who are not afraid to share their stories, because this is what I hear very often, that that's the final drop, like hearing the story from somebody else's perspective, because there's so much noise and so much AI and parenting tips and tricks and strategies here and there and all these kind of things. But the fact that we can talk about it so openly. So thank you. Thank you for being open to sharing your story, because that's indeed what is helping a lot of moms to see, like, hey, you're not alone, and yes, it can work.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it specifically. What was different? Like, what were you doing? How did you heal? What was the most useful part of that healing journey for you that was different and that made the biggest difference?
I think for me, it was having the one-to-one therapy sessions with a trauma specialist. So being able to use that alongside the mental fitness techniques that I learned through the program, so the PQ reps, practicing all of these things kind of together along with the counselling sessions. So the inner child, connecting with my inner child, being able to empathize with how I was feeling really helped me then to show empathy to my children when I get triggered. Because I do, and I
Yeah.
still continue to get triggered. But just being able to relate to my inner child and connect has been massively helpful.
Yeah. So to the level that you're comfortable sharing, but can you think about some example, like what situations that you were struggling before and that you realized it was your inner child and how you do it now, so that you can kind of walk us through like what it was for you?
Yeah, sure. So I get massively triggered by whining, noise, crying, um, and obviously having young children, that's something that happens a lot. So now when that happens, I still get triggered and I have to really tap into my inner child and I have to think, okay, what is my inner child telling me? What does my inner child need right now? And then that helps me to then look at them and think, okay, so what do they need right now? How can I be present for them? They're not doing this to wind me up most of the time. They're not doing this to, um, try and get something out of me. They're actually genuinely in the moment needing um, empathy, needing me to connect with them. And I think I can kind of understand that better now. And that helps me to respond in a better way. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not perfect. But a lot of the time, it just helps me to respond in a better way that I want to be able to respond to them.
Excellent. Yeah, this is all that makes the difference, right? Not being like not taking it personally anymore and not getting triggered by it and not reacting from the pain of you being hurt or
Yeah.
you being overwhelmed by the noise and whining and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And perfectly imperfect is what we go for, yeah.
Yeah.
We are all human.
Definitely.
And it's okay to lose it sometimes, as long as that's not like a repetitive cycle of yelling and apologizing, and then
hmm
again, yelling and apologizing. Then the kids don't learn anything from it, right? Is there,
Yeah.
I'm curious because it's relatively a short time, right? You started like at the end of May or beginning of June, and we are
Yeah.
now mid-September. So it's been only
hmm
a few weeks, really. But have you
Yeah.
already noticed any difference on your kids? Have you noticed any results?
Yes, I have, particularly with my youngest daughter. She is responding much better. Actually, this morning we were having breakfast, and usually breakfast can be quite a stressful time in our house, particularly as we're trying to get ready to leave. There's always, stuff that needs to be done that hasn't been done. But she changed the outcome of this morning. She came up with a game and we played the game and it just completely transformed the mood. And that's something that was really positive because we've been trying really hard to sort of change the scenario when we can feel things escalating. Okay, so what can we do? What can we step in and change right now? And actually, she picked up on that and she came up with her own game, and it was just really lovely to participate in. And yeah, it just changed the mood completely.
Absolutely. And well done. Because this is part of the things that we are doing is rather than giving scripts or advice or like steps, you, like that's my belief, you as the mom of your kids are in the best position to figure out what is it that they need. So I'm just like helping you remove any like obstacles and that anger and process that and give you the healthy
Yeah,
recipe so that you know how to
yeah,
manage your emotions so that then you can figure out what's going on for your kids and what's the best way to get them engaged and get them to cooperate because they want to, not because they feel pushed to. So yeah, for some kids, I just
yeah,
want everybody to understand that's not what I'm prescribing, like play games in the morning. It is one of the ways, but it might not work for your kid, but this is the kind of like brainstorming and intuitive searching together with your kids, you will figure it out once there is this generational patterning released from you. And maybe this is, I would be curious then to, again, to whatever level you're comfortable talking about. But let's talk a little bit because, as you mentioned, the inner child and like what was jumping in you whenever your kids were
hmm
crying or whining. Let's talk about that generational repatterning because this is actually the core of what we are doing here, helping moms
yeah,
realize you're not reacting to the situation with your kids. There's actually a part of you that gets over triggered and overreacts because it's been hurt all those decades
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So, to level that you're comfortable sharing, what was it for you? Where was it coming from, this deep pain?
So my dad was quite an angry dad growing up. He used to work night shifts, so he was very sleep deprived, which I now totally get. So he used to struggle to kind of hold things together sometimes. He would get really cross if there was lots of noise. So it kind of helped me understand that side of things in terms of being triggered by noise, because it was something that really triggered him. My mom had quite high expectations, so it was kind of a combination of like trying to balance the anger and the expectations really took its toll on me in terms of my self-esteem. But doing the generational trauma work really helped me to understand some of these triggers and why I'm triggered by those things so that I can then prevent patterns from repeating themselves. Because the last thing I want is for my children to grow up feeling like they've got an angry mom or a mum with really high expectations of them. So that's one of the reasons actually that I was really conscious to be able to change things for
Yeah, and
them.
they would think that it's their fault that they're not good enough and
Yeah,
they're not seen, heard, understood, and that's why
yeah,
you're yelling because that's what kids do. They make meaning and they
hmm
feel it's their fault, even though like
yeah,
whatever their outside reaction is, that's what all of them walk away with. And that's what you thought growing up, that it was
yeah,
your fault. You were too noisy. That's why you were punished for not letting
yeah,
your dad sleep. So that makes perfect sense. And just for anybody who will be watching or listening, trying to go back to their childhood to connect the dots between what is your biggest trigger today with your kids and what was happening in your childhood, how that might link. Because, by the way, there is always a link. Sometimes it's as obvious as what Suzanne was sharing here that it's the exact same situation. She just was a normal child who wanted to probably express all your emotions and be playful, be happy, have energy, but that was not wanted in your home because of the situation with your dad. So you were punished for it. And I have here even like a comment from your assessment call, like you were called naughty. They called you naughty, right? So that
yeah,
label, once you grow up having that label, then of course, then anytime your kids are showing that behavior themselves, there will be part of you that will react. Either it will be completely normal if there will be part of you who will feel jealous, like, how dare you having any emotions or having any personality where I was called naughty for having a personality? How dare you having strong will and saying no and refusing to respect the boundaries when I was punished for not respecting boundaries? Or how dare you being so alive when it's not safe to be noisy? You have to shut up right now. So that's not a safe situation. Like, who's going to come? Are the neighbors going to come? Are the neighbors going to call the cops that we are too noisy? Like, everybody shut up, right? So there can be different ways how it manifests now, but well done in digging it out. Yeah, that's that's never an easy realization to figure out, like, oh my goodness, it didn't start with my kids. What?
yeah.
Yeah. So how was that emotional roller coaster with you? Like when you were realizing like, wow, it's all connected.
Oh, it was massive. It was a relief in some respects to kind of because I've always felt, as I say, growing up, that there was something that wasn't quite right in terms of how I felt about myself, almost kind of like the shame thing that I was holding. And then to sort of be able to join the dots together and understand that actually, it's not my fault, it's not my parents' fault. It's just, I don't want to put blame on them, but it's just they were doing what they had to do, what they felt was right. But it kind of helped me to understand myself much better, which then helped me to understand how I parent and also my children and their behaviors much better.
I love it. I love what you're saying because this is exactly the point that we are not here to throw our parents under the bus. They did the best they could with what they knew. And there's like that's a big, big aha moment for so many moms when they realize it did start in their childhood. Then the next reaction for some of them is like, no, 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 that cannot be because I had a happy childhood. My parents are amazing. I don't want to put my relationship with them to risk. So I know we are not talking about it. Ciao. I never want to see your podcast again. And I'm like, wait, just listen. We are not here to blame your parents for anything, but this is such a big part of it that we need to just acknowledge. Even us as moms, we did the best we could. We screwed up. I screwed up so many times with my daughter, but I'm just hoping like the more I heal and the more I continue on my journey that yeah, that will count for something, right? And the wins that you're seeing with your children
Yeah,
now, how they are reacting, how they're actually healing, how they are learning from you in the same way how they were absorbing the pain and the anger, they are absorbing now that playfulness, then unconditional love with boundaries,
yeah,
but there is
yeah.
connection that's safe. Like that's priceless. Yeah. Fantastic. Congratulations, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Is there anything else about your journey that you feel that was important that you'd like to share with any moms who are sitting there who are feeling like, "Ah, I've done so much therapy and I tried so many things and nothing is working"? Is there something else that you feel is important to mention?
Um, I think understanding Sage. So if you do Elena's program, then obviously they go into detail about what Sage is, but Sage has kind of transformed my mentality in terms of how I think and respond to a situation. And it allows me to have greater empathy with myself, which then allows me to have greater empathy with my kids. Um, and just being aware of kind of saboteur voices and things that kind of try and tell you that you're doing things wrong or try and make you feel that you've messed up and failed. Just being aware of those and then being able to say, no, actually, you know what? I'm not listening to that today. That's not how I'm going to respond. And that's helped massively.
Excellent. Yeah, a great point. So let me just like provide a little bit of context for people who have no idea what you just talked about. So that's the core part of the mental fitness is really rewiring your brain to go from the voices that you hear in your head that are judging you, that are like telling you what a terrible mom you are. They're telling you what a victim you are because poor you, nobody has it so hard, or that make you hyperachieve or people please or avoid or perfectionist controller voices. Like all of these are actually the results of that childhood trauma that we talked about, which looks like paper cuts because it's like, no, but nobody even beat you up. Like there was no physical violence. You had amazing childhood, Suzanne, right? It's just like they told you to shut up when you were like happy, cute kid, right? That's generational developmental trauma. It's little piece by piece by piece, nothing huge, nothing dramatic. It's mostly, it's not even about what happened to you that was bad, but what did not happen. And this is then where not only we are doing one-on-one trauma sessions, but we are also learning mental fitness because that's what did not happen. That empathy, unconditional love, having no idea how unconditional love actually feels. Like before, I don't know about you, I couldn't say like I love myself without any like fake whatever
Mm,
feeling in me,
yeah,
like, no, I don't. Right. And so that's what we call then sage. It's the elder, wiser version of you who already understands this is truth and this is the healthy kind of like baseline we all were born with. It just was replaced and covered by all this blah 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 trauma that we got in the childhood. Yeah. So coming back to our baseline and learning how to get to that part of the brain because it's still there. And then the fun part is, and let me know if your kids are going there on that side as well. Did you notice any results of your mental fitness practice on your kids? Like apart from like the example you mentioned with the game, so they were able to go to it and find a new solution. Do you have any other examples, any other wins with your kids practicing mental fitness without realizing it? Or feeling
yes.
your unconditional love and feeling much safer with you?
Yeah, they have generally been responding much better. I mean, they still trigger me massively. They still push all the buttons. They just kids, aren't they, at the end of the day? But yeah, I mean, there's been many examples where I think of one in particular. My youngest daughter was having a complete and utter meltdown because she wanted something to happen. It hadn't happened how she wanted it to. She hid behind the sofa. I had to take my eldest daughter somewhere, and I knew that if I didn't take her then, she was going to be late for what I needed to take her for. But I couldn't leave my youngest daughter in an absolute state behind the sofa. My husband was in the house, but so I practiced Sage, and I empathized with her, and actually I managed to talk around. I really connected with her. I was able to say, look, is this how you feel? She then responded really well to that. And then I ended up being able to get her out from behind the sofa, and yeah, she was then able to give me a hug, and we carried on.
Beautiful. And that's why this method is so much more powerful than even like 1,000 scripts, even if you could learn them all and memorize them all and then teach them to your kids. Like, no, you are the most powerful person in your kids' lives, and you're demonstrating that, Suzanne, and you can be so proud of yourself because you're able to figure out the solution in whatever situation. And that's the best recipe going forward as
Before I
well.
would
Your kids
absolutely
will
before
keep
I would have got so stressed.
exactly, and they will keep growing up, the situations will be changing, and the fact that you can go to the roots and address it where it's off rather than
Yeah,
treating the symptoms and like, oh, she's hiding behind the sofa. Like, it's not about her hiding behind or not wanting to go somewhere. Like, what was underneath that? You can address it and you can make her feel seen and heard, everything that we needed when we were growing up, right?
yeah, definitely.
Priceless. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Is there anything,
That's
any
okay.
final words you'd like to share with like moms who are still at the beginning, who are feeling how you felt a few weeks, few months ago? Is there any last words you would have for
I think
them?
just be brave and go for it, because I remember thinking, is this going to work? It feels like, another step, another thing to to try. Is it going to happen? Am I going to be sitting here in a few months' time thinking, oh, I've spent money, I've spent time on this. Is it going to work? Actually, it's massively helped. So I'm so grateful that I've done it. So yeah, to other mums in the same situation, don't be scared. Yeah, there is hope.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for brave sharing and for your honesty and openness and like inviting people in just to like see little parts of your life, especially those that were not perfect. That takes a lot of courage to be able to just like open up and share. And thank you so much for doing that like from your heart so that you would help other moms. I really appreciate it. And anybody who will be watching or listening to this story, send us comments. I always forward all of your emails and messages that whenever there's a mom story that resonates with you and that you feel like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I needed to hear today, let us know so that they know they didn't do it. They didn't open up for nothing and that you're appreciating it. Thank you so much, Suzanne. We will stay in touch because this is not the end of your story. I'm so
No.
curious to see, like, if this is what was possible for you after just a few weeks. I cannot wait to see what else is going to happen for you in the next few months for you and your kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take very good care, Supermoms. I'm going to see you in the next episode of the Zen Supermom podcast.